Good teams will go on bad stretches across the scope of a long Major League Baseball summer, and bad teams go on good stretches. And when those two concepts converge, ... Good morning to you. Good Monday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Daily Shot of Pirates. It comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into football and or hockey, I also offer daily shots of Steelers and Penguins in the same place that you found this. Pirates 12, Mets 1 yesterday at PNC Park. Pirates take all three games from New York by an aggregate score of 30-4. The number of teams in the history of this sport who've blown out an opponent by A, scoring at least 9 runs per game, B, allowing 4 or fewer runs over that series, and C, striking out 25 batters from the losing side, is exactly 1. Amazing statistic, courtesy of the Elias Sports Bureau. Even more amazing that it actually happened. But it did, and then it kept happening, and then it kept happening some more. And listen, I don't care that the billion-dollar Mets are struggling. I really don't. I definitely don't care that they invested at least part of their Saturday in our fair city having a players-only meeting, presumably to discuss the indignity of getting their brains blown out by the Pirates. They're not our problem. They've got 13 million or so people to worry about them. These guys, on the other hand, the only thought that should be passing through anybody's mind after a weekend like this isn't so much where's it been, but rather, is it real? Or did it have more to do with the other guys and everything that's happening over there? Easy answer to that, of course, would be to go right ahead and take care of business with the Cardinals beginning tonight at PNC Park. The easier answer is to, just go ahead and enjoy it. This was Ke'Bryan Hayes yesterday after going 3 for 5 with 2 doubles, 2 RBIs, and yes, you heard me right on all of that.
Yeah, man, it's real fun. Anytime you can just blow teams out, especially at this level. It's hard enough to get wins, but whenever you're able to do it like that and everybody's getting hits, everyone's throwing well, it feels good as a team.
Couldn't have been easier to tell that these guys were all feeling that way. They were all rubbing off on each other to some extent. And my goodness, Tommy Pham hit a home run, went 2 for 4 with a couple of RBIs. Henry Davis went 4 for 4, including a double. O'Neal Cruz, who was having the worst June imaginable, got bumped down in the order, just hit 2 balls out of the park to go with 4 RBIs. And look, full credit to everybody, okay? There's no such thing in my world as giving criticism without giving credit, or vice versa. That's just the nature of the job. The number of people who would have predicted a performance like this over the weekend would be close to 0, if not right at 0, including, I might add, in that clubhouse. But they're the ones that went out there and did it. Good for them, good for the players, good for Don Kelly and his staff. Way to go. Awesome job. The reality is, if you want it to be a springboard, if you want it to be something that sets the stage or even just the tone for a more upbeat, progress-like second half, then it can't be 3 games. We saw what it looks like with 3 games, by the way, against another NL East leader. When the Phillies came in here a little while ago, Pirates took care of them, and then they went right back to doing their stuff again. So here, you want to make something of this? Make something of it tonight. Make something of it in this very series. The Cardinals, unlike the Mets, are coming in here on a season-best roll. They've won 10 out of their last 13. They've moved into a wild card spot. They just swept the Guardians up in Cleveland, winning 7-0 yesterday, by the way. The third and final game of this series will have Sonny Gray pitching for St. Louis right after he almost had a perfect game. Oh, and also, it's the Cardinals, the one team that's finished ahead of the Pirates in the standings every year since the invention of the wheel. So go to it. Keep hitting. Don't worry who around you is hitting. Don't worry what kind of support you have. Don't worry what kind of mood you're in, whether or not everybody's having fun or not. Just go hit. You're professional hitters. You're paid to hit. You're quite literally professional. So go and hit. Because the truth is, from there, you've got a really good chance of winning these games. Like all of them. Not just against St. Louis. I mean all of them. The kind of pitching that the Pirates have gotten is the kind that you can easily take for granted. But I look at this series alone, Andrew Heaney's going to be coming off the worst back-to-back starts of his major league life. He's not going to do that 3 times in a row. He's going to pitch well. Tomorrow night, it's Paul Skeens. The day after that, it's going to be Mitch Keller lining up against Gray. Hit the bleeping ball. They'll do their part. Hit the bleeping ball. Not just for one fun little weekend. Hit the ball as if that's what you're supposed to be doing all the time. When we come back, J1Q. Today's J1Q comes from Ed, who says, R.I.P. Dave Parker, and condolences to his family. There is zero doubt the Cobra is an all-time great with the Pirates and worthy of his upcoming induction into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Do you think the fact that he was a central figure in the Pittsburgh cocaine trials impacts his number being retired by the Pirates? For anybody who doesn't know what Ed's referring to, the Pirates and several players associated with the Pirates and others who were in that world at Three River Stadium were part of a federal investigation and subsequent trial that dragged on for quite some time and put really our whole city in a harsh spotlight that nobody here wanted and nobody really here felt was deserved. Because just as you refer to them as the Pittsburgh cocaine trials, so did the various nightly news programs back when people would watch that sort of stuff to get almost all of their news. And yes, Mr. Parker was a prominent figure in that process. But, and it's really important to stress this, especially in light of the man's passing, he was never determined to have been directly involved in the wrongdoing that actually occurred, and the only reason he became associated with it is he was called, as were other players on the Pirates, to testify before a grand jury during those trials. Some of those players did end up facing legal consequences. Mr. Parker did not. Now, some who are listening to this, I'm sure, would be cringing that you'd bring that up, Ed. Not me. I'm a big believer in being just as fair in clearing somebody's name as in besmirching it. So I would actually embrace an opportunity to be able to revisit that in brief and remind everyone who'd remember Mr. Parker in connection with that to just say, no, we have a judicial system. Mr. Parker acknowledged using, but once more and emphatically, nothing came of it. Not one thing. Well, except maybe one. There were fans here who weren't happy about it. They weren't happy about the trials. They weren't happy about any of the players who were there, but they especially didn't seem to take kindly to Mr. Parker in that era, in part because he wasn't himself as a player through all of that. He wasn't exactly the type to take it lying down, so he would bite back. Words would get exchanged, batteries were thrown, and listen, what are we doing here today? Ed, the number of people who would have anything remotely resembling a vivid recollection of what I'm talking about right now is really, really small. And to address your question, the original question, most directly, the number of people within the Pirates' actual orbit right now who would hold anything against him related to this is it's zero. Okay, it is just a big fat zero. What's more, as it relates to the subject of number 39 being retired, no one's ever said that it wouldn't be. No one's ever said that it wouldn't be or that would be or really even that it should be until Nick Gonzalez brought it up himself after Mr. Parker's passing this weekend. Nick said, I'll take another number. Retire this one. I know who he was. I respect who he was. I shouldn't be wearing this. But that shouldn't imply that there's been some, overarching decision made, even all the way up to Bob Nutting, where he said, no way we're going to do that. No, it just hasn't come about yet. Now, to end this segment on an appropriate note, I never met Mr. Parker. My only experiences related to him are the same that I'm sure a good many of you had among our older generation. He was quite literally larger than life when you'd see him on the field, just standing there. You could sense that there was someone special out there. But then when you'd see him throw, even in warm-ups, when you'd see him at the plate, when you would see the nature of so many of his home runs just being plain old line drives, they were just lasers. He'd go down and just line them over fences, and then you add that onto the stolen bases that he would get. He was fast, but the real reason that he'd get the steals was the smarts that he had on the base paths. I mean, there was nothing that he couldn't do. We talk now about five-tool players. How many are there really? How many are there? Oh, I'm not even just talking about, like, even right now. I mean, just in recent baseball history, how many guys are there where you say, okay, that guy could do everything? Add on to all of that Mr. Parker, as well as all black athletes at the time, had to overcome racism in countless forms, that he had to overcome being the guy who'd sooner rather than later replace Roberto Clemente, and in right field, no less, the same uniform. And somehow still atop all that he would do so with a naturally confident, bombastic personality, which also was not the norm of the time, let alone for a black athlete. This was an extraordinary talent, but also an extraordinary figure in our city's sports history, and most unfortunately one whose fight would continue well beyond his playing career. 13 years of fighting his Parkinson's diagnosis, counting the blessings here that he was finally inducted by a Veterans Committee into the Hall of Fame, a month shy of the formal speech and induction in Cooperstown, but fully aware and justifiably proud to know that's where he was headed. Rest in peace, Mr. Parker, and deepest condolences to family, friends, and all of his former teammates who lost a member of their family. We'll be back with another one of these tomorrow.